blog spot. I'm going to do a blog spot because actually, there are some mornings I wake up and you acknowledge you're fucking so exhausted. It's beyond jokes. It's like there ain't no pit. Where's the joy at in my life? Oh, hang about. I had it destroyed by literally my exterior. Hmm. There is a meme that says, "Oh, before you go and diagnose yourself as depressed, make sure you're not surrounded by assholes." But if they get you to the point where it's hard to do this, nothing to do with COVID, just to do with the fact that they've exasperated you and drove your soul into the ground, but jointly as a collective between the town of London, I suppose, and media and women, love interests, as well as just random men that you shouldn't trust, as well as a lot of factors, it gets to that stage. So let's be honest, like when you're in a wage, you avoid these things to a certain degree. You avoid the ugly because you are conditioned and groomed into a roboticized version of a person that just has to do CV, get a job, do. And I'm actually an advocate of it because you fail to see most of the drama externally, but I feel like in dropping out, I've tuned in and managed to just see the full-on frontal assault of the music industry and establishments and everything around the jobs. If you're in the job, you don't see it. If you're just floating around all of these places, then you see it. So basically, where was I going? I felt like, okay, I wanted to have ambitions when I was 19, 20. Wanted to get into acting, done that, went for roles here, there. Straight away, off the stage or going out with peers, you're imbued into the world of drinking and there are drugs around. So I've tried cocaine a couple of times and half a pill, say. Fucking with your brain chemistry at 19, 20. So what did I do at 19, 20? I was drinking 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps in my lunch break at Greenwich Young People's Theatre, and all of a sudden didn't really want to be looked at on stage because I just come out to someone and there's a little bit of rejection, and so it all just went boom, and I went, there's 2 weeks left of a 6-week month course. Dropped out. Still did a dance course. Went to India, was just floating around doing things, but detrimentally fucked with the brain chemistry for the first time. I was like, oh, didn't even get on a plane to go to Marbella with the family. Booked one after to follow him because you're in bed with a come down for the first time in life. So that's life. Blogspot. I'm not trying to keep this short little chunk so it don't, but I'm gonna try and get it all out in one. So that's life that you don't expect because you don't think things to be so commonplace. And then I met someone when I got back from India in a dive bar called the Georgian Dragon. No advocate for it. This fire marshal, I confided in him and he took me there, and he introduced me to this girl because I'm very introverted, and at the time obviously it's dark, you can't see someone, you sort of like get close, exchange numbers, and they call up the next day. It's like, oh, but I've just had all my teeth knocked out by my ex-girlfriend and I can't meet you. I've been, there's so many things, and you instantly, that person's tapping your empathy, sympathy, so you think you're being some sort of hero to somebody that's got these sob stories, and you meet up with that person and you think, oh, okay, broad light of day, not so sure about this, and go back to a flat thinking at least, the very least, you can make friends, and it's like that. And then it's like, yeah, would it be okay to stay? Is it okay if you got any pajamas? You sort of like that in this level of innocence and dumb. And anyway, that's how it goes. And you haven't had an experience with a woman, so she jumps on your legs, rubs her pheromones on you. Did you know they're the most addictive substance on the planet? What I would later, after the relationship long over, would realise is that crack is also in those pheromones. And people aren't compulsive liars because they've had a bad past. They're not compulsive liars because this woman cheated and had a miscarriage behind her back and this woman punched her teeth out, and because of this, and when someone tries to get £500 out of you and says, because the first thought when I walked into a place was, this is like a crack house. It says, you haven't got much furniture going on. Oh, that's because the house in Ireland I've just only got here and haven't had time to decorate. and I'm waiting on the rent from nurses on this non-existent house. And then when that didn't come through after 2 weeks knowing this person, they tried to get £500 out of me, but I had a mum's number, so I found out quickly. But then was like, the morbid psychology of people's drama keeps you in some sort of going around state because you think you're trying to fix someone, but they're just happy crackheads. At the end of the day, there's no part of you that should be in that, around that, in your first relationship without even conceiving that they're doing that. It's just this full-on hell gate of what is actually real and what's not. I don't know Mars from my elbow. And that's exactly how you can describe it. And all I did was shout and scream in that relationship. One time that I saw that she knew someone that was crackhead, I went back to the flat and smashed the clock and was a very angry person. So 2 week break, boom, into next thing. And this is industrial, in my personal opinion, with your Jay-Z's selling their crack on the streets and glorifying the man. You know, when you really want to look at it and how depraved it is and how detrimental the effect on people's lives. But was it set up by industrial? Was it stage? Was it this? Don't know. To some degree, it feels like that in hindsight, and it feels like you're constantly fighting a dark entity in just your life. Because 2 weeks later, but me, this totally complacent security guard of a person that did nothing for my self-esteem, you know. It's just like, oh shit, I've got fired now. Oh yeah, so I'd dump you 2 weeks, but you know, and spend 2 weeks with my friend just for selfish means and because I'm told puffhead up my own arse. And I did nothing for my self-esteem and kept running around to someone like that, running back. Someone, just, what did she dump me for the first time? Oh, just glancing at the phone and seeing the word arsehole on it that she was calling me. Don't really need this after that. Not that I'm feeling sorry for myself, but this is just a level of how much your head can be done in to get to the point where you don't know what to do for yourself. So, take 3. After that 3 years, fine. That was actually a good relationship because I wasn't allowed to shout and scream, and it was like, I'm not having any drama, I'm walking away. It's okay, fine. But you're not really validating yourself or your journey in life, are you? Really being with somebody that you're the little like, oh, don't leave you turn into. And there was no part of me that did not love at the time that person, but just knew I deserved better on some level. I've been taught that, you know, on your day off you don't sit in bed bunning a joint all day. It's not really, it's a waste of your 30s, you know. Anyway, after that, I just didn't want to go back to work and I couldn't cope with my peers, you know. You're in a situation, you feel like you've chucked away your dreams for 10 years. On what? Running around in circles with somebody, trying to sort out somebody's psychological health because all they know is how to lie, and that's it. Why should I be penalised for knowing somebody that I didn't even know did crack? And that's how it is in London. I went into a bar, Swan, got on the mic, and it's like it's this person from my past of I haven't seen in 10 years or plus is gonna come snatching the mic off me and make a scene and start screaming and shout me outside of a pub called this, and you're like, the penny's not even dropped that she's because see no evil, hear no evil in London, right? And so I'm not gonna energise this woman for all it is pathological, dramatic institutionalisation of a stage. And I used to think the law of attraction is why this is happening to me, because the law of attraction says that you want to act. You want to get on a stage, so therefore you will find every kind of drama outside of it. And that is all you will become accustomed to. This sort of like shadow. And I don't know if this is like identifying like hell on earth. It's okay if you make it out of there, if you are the Jay-Z's that used to sell the crack, you know, you're just doing what you had to do to get out your ghetto, is what they feed the hip-hop scene and the bullshit. And it's nothing like that, is it really? Is it really like that? No, it's not. Why are you respecting people? I mean, the gift of word, great, whoopity fucking do. I can rap, I can fucking rhyme all day long. I thought it was such an inane thing that I thought it was child's play that I put it down and I didn't bother with it. But it was there. Since 79, the year of Sugar Hill Gang. 79. That was the year that I was born, where everything was picking up in black culture. So they were going good, getting better. So this is what I'm trying to bust people out of their realisation. It's just a social fucking commentary. It's just a social commentary. Your fucking black history is just a social fucking commentary, mate. Do you feel, oh, this over that about that, localised things that happen here, there. So fucking what? You were born when, and how good's it been getting since then? How many people have been groomed with the history? I did 10 jobs in my time, and every single one. Let's learn about equality and diversity training. Click, to the point that you've done it 10 times. Every job you go into, you have to sit there like you're just some fucking what? Industrial. So the O2, did you like it? No, I fucking didn't, Dave. It's the lowest point in music for me. 2000. Jokes. Fucking funny. But you're not entitled to these opinions. Anyway, so this is blog. Where do we go from here? Anyway, for being single, trying to get in the self-employed zone, I met this black blimp with a gold tooth that, strangely enough, appeared in that crack woman's flat once, and I just walked straight out the door because I was working at Sky as an engineer, and I couldn't be bothered to put up with these random people, whatever the fuck she was doing, because she never told me. It was always like, didn't know what she was doing, obviously because she's doing crack. All the money spent in one day. Why is that? Oh, because they're spending all down the Weatherspoons on all these people. Oh, she's a proper gangster, big gobshite almighty, screaming out, hey, you know the area. People I got spat in the face by Africans in Catford just for defending her, being pushed around. If only I knew what I knew now. That's just the way it goes. That's the way the cookie crumbles, right? You don't know at the time. But that's the way it was. So anyway, she's there. This comes into my life via this fool. Why are you bringing that blimp out on a Christmas shopping trip? I don't give a fuck. I wouldn't know. I'm not forgiving people. Forgiveness is virtue. No. If someone you know to have been in long-term relationships, that was all I know. Oh, they think they're having supremacy over you. There's this girl that struggles with it herself, my friend, called Victoria, because people are presumptuous in this world. They take over they try to tell you what you are and what you're not. If you, for the first time, let's just say this is an advert for not, because I didn't touch drugs for those years, till 30, boom, I couldn't even smoke a spliff with this woman, with that crackhead and her crew. It was like, had a hash, boom, no, I couldn't even be in their company, because this sort of phenomenon would take over, this next level anxiety, like I thought I could hear them. No, I can't be in this. So I kept my nose clean, I was working, whilst being with the fucking crackhead, imagine that. So anyway, meet this person, and I'm like, I don't know, you look familiar. Oh, I remember you one. Yeah, you used to have dreads, fake dreads. And I was like, okay. And so for the first time in my life, I'm smoking a spliff because I can, because of the second relationship. She's always bunning in bed and won't stop fucking smoking. So I get used to this. I can do this, but I don't really particularly, I can take or leave it, and I'm not really, why do you have to smoke it, always nagging on her back monkey kind of person. And then I smoke a spliff and I have a strong beer for the first time, and then this is where you start to get violated in your single years when you're already so down. You're trying to just make your way, and someone says they're going to help you in music, but unbeknownst to you, they're going around telling their exterior that that's my girlfriend. No, it's not. I've never had a girlfriend. I've had a boyfriend once. That was my choice, not to have somebody manipulate my external world. If someone, we went back to my house for drinks afterwards. Strong beer spliff. This is where you beat yourself up for smiling too much. Could you let yourself out? If a woman loses her voice and people fail to recognise, could let yourself out, I'm not feeling well, you're having a white, please just let yourself out. That's your final word. A woman her words should not be stolen, and her voice walked on. And so that's what happened. If someone comes barging into your room and you're in a state like that, and this blimp with a gold tooth has filled a woman's head with psychological fear, whether real or not, doesn't matter. That's what they were doing. That's what they were playing. They're non-players. You say you've done things in your past that the industry are interested in. Okay, but that's your past. Oh, what part of a gang that killed in New York? Well, why didn't you fry stateside? whether it was a lie or truth. If it's a lie, it's still psychological damaging. To be compromised, it's trespass upon your property. Doesn't matter what occurred after that, it's your truth to own. Fear is your truth to own, and it's a cliche, it's grey area crimes committed by gang-like mentality people up and down the country, I'm sure. Playing that psychological damaging things on a woman. Wasn't in a good place anyway. So it's just like, what occurred after that? I said, why would you leave a fucking stranger in my flat? I didn't. He must have let himself back on the latch. Had this cackle of women around him, just ready to be like, oh, that must have been awful for you. Ready to just have each other's back. So I'm not happy, no, for being walked over in a situation and feeling like I was vulnerable and I couldn't trust them. And then having them psychologically tell me, he's moved there, so you can't ask him because, you know, he's gone. Ah, really? Okay. So I have to give you, this blimp on this scene, the benefit of the doubt for this, do I? My heart dropped into my feet that day. It was a nightmare. It was just before 2012. And it goes on. He had this woman follow him around. He said, oh, she's some obsessive about him, blah, blah, blah. And then after I started to find disdain in this person, because another act of impropriety never gave it the impression I fancied it. There's the spare room, that's where I sleep if I've been out, and I just needed some freedom because I was single, going out London, karaoke and doing stuff on the scene. But the sole purpose of these entities is to manipulate and exploit, not in the musical sense, but to get you degraded, and that's what happened in this amount of time. There's a spare room. Anyway, if you don't consensually have sex and it's not consensual and you're so, oh, I'm wasted, here, have a line of coke, like I say, didn't do it, wasn't used to it, boom. It's like, boom. No part of me, I've done it before, and I was confident and sure on cocaine. That wasn't cocaine. Months before you, Christmas, when my cousin was in A&E, I had a very confident time on coke. That wasn't a confident kind on coke. That wasn't something I wanted to happen. Was there ketamine mixed with that? Because there was no part of me that was conscious, and when I did come to my senses, then it was like, oh God, what the fuck was that? Don't want to see that again. So that is how it went down, and it's shady, dark, grey area crimes, and I don't give a fuck if it's what it sounds like. It's your truth. So this entity now, I'm like, I don't want to see that shit again. Don't really have to see that again. Don't want to see that again. Don't really know. No. What are you doing? Weeks later, happened to be something going on the beach rave. I had to tell people, he turns up with this big clique of women now. I'm like, looking for a response, I think, to just measure and judge me. That was all that day out was, with his gang. So it's like, okay, I'm in the shop now, and there's two guys in there and drinking their K-Crew. I say, there's a beach rave over there. And then he goes, come, he's the only person to buy anything in the shop, and he's surrounded by his gaggle, these 21st century epic fouls hanging off the alpha male because he'd done gone to jail, which I wrote a poem about way back, but I didn't really take out on the scene. I didn't feel like it needed to be said, because I live my own truths, and there's no part of me that likes their gang. I'll fight back against a dark entity force all day long if I think it's a substandard to what I am taught is what a dignified moral code of conduct is. Where's your friends at? I don't know, they're around, but they're amongst this whole shifty vow that I've somehow managed to walk through as somebody that was probably autistic and only got acknowledged that later in life. Was I autistic to be trusted? Is autism trust? It must be these days. So that's my backstory. And it's exasperating, just all of it is exasperating. So that's what happened. He was beach rave. I meet this girl on the beach, who I end up with later, and I was very grateful for her because she's my friend for 2 years. In that 2 years, other stuff happened within that cliquey, dark shadow of a gang or culture or whatever it is. And if you want proof of it, it's on YouTube, which will further back up where I'm coming from when I'm having a phone call with this Molka person who I didn't even know at the time I'm having this conversation is a Molka opportunist, because he plays sympathiser to all I've been through with this high school clique that I should never have been involved with. I get close over a couple of days, end up sleeping with somebody out of trust and empowerment, and he's mulkered it. Wow, Laura, Wow, consensual sex just to empower yourself, and then that's what occurs. Were they dark times? Yes. And I'm talking a blog spot through the worst of crimes that can happen in London to somebody whose sexual identity is predominantly gay woman. Predominantly, and always has been. Don't want to be a has-been. Open to different levels of understanding now, but that's from the woman that I've met, because they don't seem to want that. Any woman I've been with doesn't want a partner, doesn't want to seem to want that. They want everything. So my level of understanding and adapting has only come through my own conscious evolution, not because I've had rude forced awakenings or anything happen in life. These people, it's like they don't conceptually understand something. They say, oh, I really rate this woman here. When I'm talking about rating somebody else, how is it that something's happened that I didn't even conceivably put on the cards? And I have a friend that blacks out and doesn't remember, and must be obviously traumatic times in London when someone gets to the point they black out and it's like their lights are on and no one's home. So I can be accused of being this entity, almost like this shapeshift entity and I will hold my hand up if that's happened. But there are occasions when that isn't who I am, and I know that someone's done what they've done. We walk through this weird maze of like shit happening, and I'm just saying these were not good times, not because of what I generated in hate, but because of what that egomaniacal individual, after wronging me on 3 occasions, generated in fear. This gold-toothed person used police to intimidate me because he worked his baby mother into the scene. She's claiming, oh, how are you? All of a sudden, she's all over me. She's all over me during this time. It's like gangland. They're just assault on the senses. She wants to get with me all of a sudden. She's all over me. And I actually really genuinely got on with her, and that was it. I was like, I'm not going to let somebody else that he supposedly, all he did was put her down and say she was a lying, conniving bitch that was pretending he was the father because he don't have no sperm. I mean, I was just like, okay, so this woman, I shouldn't really judge him by her or her by him. But then she's hanging out with this guy that I had one weird sexual experience with, who's wearing Union Jack glasses on a YouTube, that's asking me about what's already happened to me. But at this point, the penny hasn't dropped who he is and why he's following me around all of a sudden, filming everything. The penny's sort of slowly dropping, thinking I shouldn't trust him in that situation. I've slept with him once, but I don't trust him. It's like now he's filming everything. It turns out, he's filming over toilets, he's filming under the toilet, he's filming over the toilet, and he don't give a flying fuck kind of individual for privacy, for anything. Doesn't care. And then he uploads a box set that says private video at the bottom. So it's like, again, culture of bullying, exploit. Where does that video go? I got paranoid to the point that it might go all the way to the Bird's Nest Arena from the Bird's Nest pub in Deptford. That the gang culture, the clique, is actually prevalent in London. And a person like me that stands up against it and goes, fuck you all, I really hate everything you stand for, working off woman's fear with an alpha head like that. I would like it beheaded and put on a stake outside London Bridge. I'm not a racist, I just hate that toilet man. So I don't name names. WC the toilet man. I walked down he stopped me going out and actually spy into my whole dreams. Everything just went, I've been depressed and it's been down the toilet for years because I wouldn't go into New Cross, getting assaulted by a bouncer coincidentally after the toilet man walks in for playing a drum 1 minute after 12. I'd given a set for the first time, used my guitar. Bear in mind, I've already been down and depressed because of this cultivation of disempowerment and losing your whole centre and exploit of others all over you. So I pick up a guitar after years, after being with a woman that distracted me from it all for 2 years, and I still thank her even though she's probably part of it. She was like very money orientated. Anyway, when I was with this baby mother woman, she basically just didn't acknowledge me in public. She assaulted me outside the club for whatever fucking retarded reason. I have no idea. She was the one that dumped me and got with someone else and didn't explain why is she doing that to me. People tell me I should go and talk to her if I see her in the pub. Why on earth? I don't understand why you'd want me to do that. I'm living in a hellbelly gate situation where this person, oh, it might be okay to talk to them, but I don't want to, because you're the father of your child is scum. To me, to my identity, to everything that the people, forgive those that trespass, forgiven, done. Right, talking this way, forgiven, done. COVID, great time to have downtime and know that this is what it is for me walking around out there. I can't go at it like Weatherspoons even. Is it really because of that, or is it because of this blimp? This blimp that has no place around music, that exploits women, that is a gatekeeper type of individual, that has facilitated and thought maybe this bouncer was part to do that, won't let me in to get my guitar. First time I perform there. Does this blimp have any influence and weight around this scene? If I give credence to it, then it's a vampire riding my coattails, the way I see it. So I shouldn't even do a blog spot about anything of my past, because I'm starting afresh after COVID. None of that thread of my story, I'm taking it out, I'm pulling it out. You know, I know people that have committed suicide, and there's rumour that there was a gay video about because of them. This invasion of privacy and people having no respect for people's identity and just going, oh, it's all in, gang, gang, player, player, player. No, you're non-players. You're substandard, cultivated ethos of misery, depression, and putting people in a place that is not rightfully theirs because they trusted you for little more than being a little bit autistic or being all these sort of factors that we are told in families to be over sympathetic, to actually identify, oh, because we're given all the black history culture's cultivation of, we try to be those best people. We are programmed almost to be nice and generous and be like, oh, it's nice to be this person, isn't it, in life? But all you're going to get is screwed over by everybody and everything. That's what the London culture generates. And by the time they're finished with you, what have you got? You've just got you. You're a single cellular thing that wishes and prays that she'd never been through any of it, but thinks it somehow is some sort of deceptive script culture that's been inflicted on you. And there must be something more to it. It must be something to do with the arts culture, meeting that girl in that pub and then all those links after. And how is it that when I was coming in from a pub and I was at that open mic, these Fraggles turned up and they just happened to know the woman underneath me? Is that college culture, tick box culture, your sexual identity culture, your council culture, selling information to people to get in and work it? Because she was selling drugs downstairs from me while she's long fled. And you go, should you go to the police about these things? But you learn very early on that the police, when they turned up at the New Cross Inn, they were just they were telling me to calm down. And then they had me in cuffs because of this sort of level of dramatic psychosis that they're drilling into you. Oh yeah, darling, oh yeah, we'll elevate her. We'll make something of her, or we won't. Or is it easy to zip people like that up? How deeply and darkly does it run when things like that, the council flat, this woman coming in? I'm not gonna, once this is out in my blog spot, you can ask me this any question if I ever made it in any sense. I wouldn't even answer. I'd be like, no comment, it's not really the arena to judge. But I just want people to make sure they know through everything full on of how nasty and dark and satanic it all felt. Dirty. My London, that's what my London is. Take me back to London. Ed Sheeran, do you know much about it? You know, your Stormzy culture. I know he's from South East too, mate. Does he know people like this bloke with the gold tooth that prays like on that hip hop scene like he's somebody that has no rights over some women that are security, some women that are actually come from there, but they got broke by their fellow women, so to speak, in their disregard for other things that happened on a break. Oh, because I should feel guilty about that, shouldn't I, when I'm sleeping, having my hand molested? Shouldn't I feel bad about that? So it's just like, people just make me kind of sick, because I always had this twee little idea of what it's about and how nice people are. I always had imagined this stage compare. There's your stage compare to welcome you onto stage, to get you there, because we know you're darlings and we know you're lovies. That's what you are. You're the people that trust everything. So we'll just knock 10 stuffings of shit out of you before you get anywhere and say, oh, it's a champion, look at that champion. The champion bounces back. Yeah, COVID's been nice, really. It's been nice, but do I feel nice coming out of it? Or do I feel like that clique of dirty, unwashed, that have just been predominantly about some level of what? There's positives to take from it, like gangster mentality. Oh, you're right now if you got it out your system. No, because if I always see that, I'll want to behead it and stick it on a stick. And I'm sure the feeling's mutual. Foes. It's all good. You have to have a foe. Oh yeah, in hip hop you have to have a foe. This ain't hip hop. This is Laura just telling a story with no names. And if you play the game, if industrial, it does like to generate and cultivate this gangster hip hop bullshit. Tupac, go fuck by yourself, Tupac. Mr. Pretty Boy. Oh, you're really lovely, pretty. You've got all the skills under the sun, but you know what? You used to hold a gun. I've got no respect for you, son. None. You know, it's the same as like Juice WRLD. Is he dead? Is he dead? Did he die because he had guns on him and he went to Germany? Is he? Oh no, he died in custody. Well, that's always suspect, but if you're going to rap about guns, if it's going to be a whitewash about guns, then yeah, there's people melting down their guns in America. You're fucking killing kids in schools culture. You're fucking retarded culture. You're every culture. I try to push back against the whole fucking army and armed forces over a gun. So I have no qualms in saying I don't respect you, brother, because you're carrying a gun. No matter how pretty you are, and you know they stand up against the biggie. I mean, that culture is so over. It's done. It's like, yeah, Snoop Dogg, with your pop culture coming out of it, I don't mind. You know, you've got some Snoop Doggy Dogg was what I was listening to at 13, 14. It was so bubbly and easy. So you knew how to play the whole scene. And apparently you're more like an uncle to people and try to right the wrongs in the world, and you've really seen your morally, your ways, and how destroying these sort of dark entities around music are. But when they try to get at someone like me, I removed myself and got depressed for years. So well done. And now I'm doing a blog spot to say, this is me winning. This is me winning. I hope I never have to mention your name, and I will never mention your name ever publicly. But I might have mentioned it to a lesbian who thinks that anything was happening to her out there in the world and feels like it's getting so dark she couldn't handle it, and she's pretty much, she might probably be bought off and you can see the whole scene and the whole picture, but when it gets that disturbing at the exterior, that's how disturbing it was. I did a day's work in security. I might go into part 2 of this because it'll probably cut off because there isn't that much memory, but I did a day in security after not being capable of working in November, and I was put on the door and I had to frisk people, back of palms, up, down, all day. That's it, boom. Because I used to come from the O2. And then a week later, I think it was on something, there was like this whole cult of the media, how demonic a tyranny of industrial media is. It's like, if you want to stand up, you feel like every part of your complex matrix is compromised. You're still trying to move forward with what you want to bring to the table, and you've got on the news, oh yeah, I feel like this has happened to me at the hands of security. I've been molested by security and stuff, and I was like, yeah, when I was an artist, I've had my tits grabbed by field security. I've been assaulted by field security. I've had things happen in Glastonbury. Security. Do I feel like my whole self is compromised at this time? In the COVID, I've played with, in my 30s, around safe areas, I feel like I've played with psychedelics because they say they've got healing factors, and there's nobody that needed healing more than me. And do I feel like COVID is part of this healing process? Yeah, I do feel like it's like I got to go into that cocoon to come out properly, but I won't come out properly until it's acknowledged that the cocoon, you're only forced into it by darkness that shouldn't even exist in the world, because people should have some damn respect for each other. And yeah, okay, I hold my hand up all day long till you might have formed my character, not for the better, because my temper, and if people come challenge me, then I just found myself throwing a glass because I felt like this guy, he's using security is coming around scene, and they are people that are compromised people. They're not quality, they're not people that are down the line. They work within this pub, that pub. You think about the shifty entity of the SIA within a compromised perspective where drugs, they all use drugs and do drugs. Did they let that gold tooth blimp be part of their culture and then thus manipulate me around a Weatherspoons, around a Bird's Nest, around a Fox and Firkin and stuff. The entities that were challenging me. There's enough. I've dropped enough names there for you to build up a fake representation of myself. I've been to someone's place, and they show you how dark they can be. Like, have you thieved my wallet? Have you done this? And you're like, this is a white person that I met in a field that translated to North London. And then you're like, no. And you've just said that in front of all the staff of that man. He works there at the Fox and Firkin. Now you're calling me up the next day to apologise, you snivelling little coke wreck. It's like, have I learned to dislike so much about everything about trying? Yeah, break you, snap you, crush you. That's what it's all set up and geared out to do. Like, Secret Garden Party, a place that I'd worked how many times? Someone smashing my wing mirror off, and the man from security, the Glastonbury psychopath, sending police over to work me. I'm writing you a ticket for no wing mirror. What the fuck, are you sick in the head? Like, to feel these forces upon you, to feel like they could make or break you, and they letting you know every step of the way. Music industrial, no, most people have a nice, easy, smooth way into it, don't they? Oh, but Laura, you're nothing but a champion. Yeah, you're nothing but a champion. So I find myself, where's my route in? Well, it's going to have to be with Alan, the guy that lives in a hostel. Because that's how they've had it designed for me. They've had me ostracised from all these places. Just say, oh yeah, you're the one. You have to be this. This has to be your route in. You're the one that cares about the... What is it? Own this pineal gland, your third eye. Fly. But they made sure there's nothing left. I gave up trying to ask for making routes. And what, London, yeah, hit me jumping around with them. Start again, Laura, you got to keep on going. Yeah, I've put my material out enough to just say, oh, does anyone... They must know people. They must know, are people in the know, or do they just focus on their own self? Because, you could go show support for them. You run around, they don't show you support. They just let these things happen. People, oh, you have to learn your own lessons. And you do. And I've learned. I have learned. And I've learned there's nothing better than talking. And just because you're told by PC correct political land that you have to be this, you have to be that, not prejudice or judge. All the hatred that ever was cultivated around establishment and money, because lower class, working class white people were always poor and the fallen slaves. So when you look up to black people, or you look up to their struggle, because that's what the social commentary is, and then you're not allowed to identify or call yourself a nigger because you're calling that word we tried to bury. It's Latin. It's not yours to bury. It's a word. It means black. As I said, we are internally black and white, sun and moon, darkness and light, yin and yang, the nature of a soul. So if Michael Jackson wants to bleach himself fucking white externally, then I can internally say that in a song, because I felt like I was crushed down by a culture that wanted me to adopt a certain persona, and I will not forgive them, and I do not want to be associated with them, and I remove myself from all lower levels of whatever was at play in the ghetto, in the whatever, in the mentality that shrinks people's identities rather than empowers them like little princesses that they fucking should be. Because maybe white women are to be consumed. Maybe it's not a black or white thing, but maybe if that black man always goes for white women and they seem to be the stupid bitches that go, yeah, 21st century Eket fell hanging off the alpha male because he's done to jail and too scared to speak up against someone, even though white women come at you going, oh, that man you were with, he used to get younger girls when they were like 15 and like be getting them ready for him, so he's not cool, he's this, he's that. They all speak behind each other's back. I don't care. Whatever. A character's a character. I'm not dissing everybody that on those grounds. There's plenty of black people. Brilliant. My favourite actress always has and always will be Whoopi Goldberg from Yeehaw to Grasshopper. My musical influences, loving the NWA for the work that they did in that counterculturalism against fighting that slave race mentality that might see you all drones. There is that level of supremacy that they can get out the bag anytime. They let you know that they're working on that. I'm a security head girl. That's why I always see into that belly of that beast. And I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I need some people to look my back after going through people like that. Because they somehow have supremacy. Even though they stand for everything that I don't believe in. Oh shit, I come across you in my past. Sorry about that. But I'm sure there's some good people that have my back. Or let's just pretend it was a, yeah, it was 2012. I didn't.